episode 12, building the 600-gallon aquarium. For those of you who've been watching the 1,500-gallon saltwater system, then you know the 600-gallon tank behind me because it's a big part of that system, as it's tied into the 700-gallon sump and the 265-gallon display tank on the other side. But for this video, this is just going to focus on building the tank behind me from start to finish. So just like other build videos I've done, I want to show you, the finished product first. There's a real tank. At the end of this video, we're going to go from start to finish. I won't leave you hanging. And as you can see, it's working. And for anyone who has been watching that 1,500-gallon series, please ignore the rock. You're not supposed to see that yet. That's not there for you people. For everybody else, let me give you a quick look at what the system looks like now, and then we'll take it back and we'll show you the build from the beginning. Let's take a look. So like I mentioned, it's a 600-gallon. It is 6 feet lengthwise, 4 feet from front to back, and 4 feet tall from top to bottom. And like I mentioned, it is not an independent tank. It is completely plumbed into a shared sump that goes with the 265-gallon right here. So as you can see, the combination of these three tanks all running together is what gives me that 1,500-gallon system. But for today, we're just going to look at what it took to build this 600-gallon 6x4x4 plywood aquarium. Alright, let's take it back and we'll see what it took to build this bad boy. Quick slideshow just to get the build kicked off here. We got the three wall sections on the bottom with the 3/4 inch plywood over top, just like on the 3,000-gallon. And then from there, we're just starting to build up the 2x4, stacked 2x4 walls, screwed and glued, of course. Now this tank's a little interesting is that to get the price down on the glass is 36 inches, but the tank is 48. So the front is built up 12 inches before the glass starts. So that's what you're seeing there. Now you're starting to see the outside of it build up more, and now I'm starting forward on the front where I'm actually going to be framing it out instead of building it up because I've got that 12 inches or so. So the reason I do the stacked build like this is because it makes the tank super strong. It's overkill, but it also allows me to climb on the tank, because this is 4 feet tall, so a lot of the stuff I'm gonna have to be getting in and out of it, and you can do anything with these. They're literally tanks, even before you fiberglass them. So it's just so I can just pull myself up and climb in, climb out. I don't have to worry about putting any stress on the walls or pulling on anything, because with the pond armor, it's important that the frame doesn't move. I mean, it has to be rigid, and that's what gives it its strength. So here you can see we've got the front window framed out and braced, and in the back you see we left a couple slots there. That's so that we can actually put a wave maker so the magnet can connect through the 1/2 inch plywood, and then the other section is so we can drill holes for the plumbing for the 2 drains and the return. If I left it thick like the 4 inch, the 3.5 inch thick of the 2x4s, there's no way the magnet would go through there, and trying to get a bulkhead on there would be impossible. So this is just adding in a smooth hardwood plywood, only 1/2 inch. Doesn't need to be that strong. The bracing behind it is giving you all the strength, plus the future fiberglass. And then where the holes are drilled, and at the top where the wave maker is, there's no pressure up there because it's the very top of the tank. So all the most pressure is at the bottom, and the least pressure is at the top from the water. So you don't have to worry about being as super braced right at the top as you do at the bottom. And of course, with any Aquarium main build, I make sure that they are fully CAT certified. I would never put something together that didn't pass, the CAT test. And once again, I've got the seal of approval. And here I am just filling all of the holes, the screw holes, with body filler and getting it ready for the dreaded fiberglass. Okay, I've been waiting for some nice weather because it's time to work again on the 600-gallon saltwater. And the reason I need good weather is because I need to open the door to let some fresh air in, because we are going to be fiberglassing today. I have a little bit of sanding to do, very little bit, just basically sanding off all the little bit of excess putty, clean up those edges a little bit, vacuum that out, and then we will be starting to fiberglass.
So fiberglass, if you've never done it, is messy, stinks to high heaven, and a bit of a pain in the butt. You need a lot of these little guys to mix the resin and the hardener because it doesn't last that long. You got to use some pretty heavy duty stuff to clean up the tools because the resin is quite nasty once it gets on things. And you need a lot of throwaway cheap brushes because you're going to be wiping on a lot of resin. And of course you need your fiberglass tools to smooth out the fiberglass once it's permeated with the resin and the hardener. But the reason you go through all that is because when you're done, you get one heck of a strong foundation for your two-part epoxy coat, something like a pond armor, for example. So if you just fill the wood and just fiberglass the corners, a lot of people will just do the corners and just down here, you know, that probably will work, probably will get you by. But if you do like what I did on the 3000 and what I'm doing on the 600 gallon is you come and you fiberglass every surface, even up over the top, because you know you're dealing with water and wood. Even though the outside is going to be painted, you know, all this will be painted with regular paint outside, and the inside will be painted with the two-part epoxy. But if you fiberglass the entire thing, including up over the edge, up over the seams here, you really get a strong lifetime sort of product. You're not going to worry about water getting down in here. You don't have to worry about, you know, water on the top surface here, because this is the other thing too, is the top not only will be fiberglass, it'll also be two-coat epoxy just like the inside of the tank. So it'll be meant to have water touch it. I mean, you're talking an aquarium, you're putting things in and out, you're working on it, water gets, you know, everybody spills water. There's just no way around it. So you got to make sure you prepare for that. But at any rate, once this structure is fiberglass, this is going to be super strong. And also the exciting part for me is once the fiberglassing is done, it's time to paint the two-part epoxy, and then it'll be time to silicone in the window, which needs to be ordered. Now that I know the exact size, I can go ahead and put in the order, because it takes a little bit to get tempered glass, because they have to make the tempered glass. And then if you recall, over here we have these little cutouts for the plumbing, for the return and for the drains. So once we're done fiberglassing and before we do the epoxy coat, we'll go ahead and drill that out with a hole saw drill over there and get that ready, so then when we paint we get a nice clean finish, and then we can put in those bulkheads and tighten them down and have a real clean look to it. And hopefully, you know, mostly just disappears, you don't see it. Ideally you don't want filtration to stand out, or parts of the filtration to stand out. But okay, so enough of me talking, and I need to put the camera down and get in there and put in some sweat equity in this tank and get this done. All right, fiberglassing is done, minus a little bit of sanding and touch up, but the main grind is done. This is the part of building these DIY tanks, these wood tanks, that every time I do the fiberglassing, I swear to myself, I'm never going to build another one of these. It is such a pain in the rear. It is just messy stuff, but it gets all over everything. You gotta trim off the top, you get all your scissors all over your floor. 3 big containers of the resin, lots of hardener. It smells. I have the it's cold outside, but I have the door open and I turned it off for the video, but there's a fan that's gonna run, otherwise the whole house will stink to high heaven. That being said, the reason I endure it is because once this is hardened, it is a really strong shell. Wood with fiberglass coating on it is used in a lot of hardcore type projects. I mean, boats and trailers and all kinds of things. So it is very strong. So because these tanks hold a lot of water and they're in my house, I go the extra mile. I suffer through applying the fiberglass, and then, you know, now I got that moment of relief. After this filming, I'm gonna go have a beer and relax, because I feel like I've earned it, because I've done 5 hours of fiberglassing today. But more importantly, it is going to be really strong. and it's going to be a really good base to put the pond armor on. So that's going to be the next step. The next two things I'll be doing here with this aquarium is, well, three things, sorry. I will be drilling the holes in the back once the fiberglass is cured for the two drains and the return. Then I will be sizing, so from the inside of the aquarium, I'll need to measure the inside lip for the frame where the glass will go. And I need to put an order in for the glass because it's tempered glass, so it's actually going to be baked or made to custom size. So I'll get that order because that takes time. And then I'll go ahead and order the pond armor, which is the two-part epoxy. What I do is I order two colors so I can put down the first coat, and then once that's dried, I go to put the second coat down. It's easy to see, you know, when I cover over the other one, versus if I just did the same color twice, it wouldn't be easy to tell if I'd hit all the spots for the second coat. Okay, well, I can't stand here too long because it reeks. Getting kind of like the fiberglass contact high just from standing here right now with all this curing. But real quick before I go, I did fiberglass all the seams, vertical and horizontal, all the panels, everything except for the front, because the front is the stacked lumber. It's all glued and screwed. It's very strong, and it's no problem to get the the epoxy to cover that without any problems. But all right, that's it for now. Next step, we should be doing some drilling and epoxy coating. Okay, finished the sanding on the 600 gallon, and in the process of sanding it down and getting it ready for the pond shield, I found a couple areas where either had like bubbles like down here, or it wasn't fully cured here. So I went ahead and anywhere where I had a bubble, I broke the bubble and then sanded off any extra fiberglass that was there, and then re-glassed it and re-epoxied it. So basically just did that everywhere that I had a problem like that, which wasn't too many. I think it was maybe 4 places. And then went ahead and drilled the holes up there for the drains and the return. Put up my sheet, since I have the other aquarium on the other side there, just in the sump, just to keep any possible fumes from doing the pond shield from wafting over there and causing any problems. Trimmed up any of the excess fiberglass on the top, and now we are ready for pond shield. So I believe, yeah, this is the color I don't want, which ought to be the first coat, the more inexpensive one, and then final color is here. So next time you see this tank, it should have a very, very different look to it with the first coat of pond armor installed. All right, holy blueness. The 600 gallon has its first coat of pond shield. Let me walk back a second though and refresh you on something I did the tank that I screwed up filming. So before I put this coat of pond shield on here, I went over all the fiberglassing I did, and I found anywhere where there was a bubble or it just wasn't applied completely correctly, and I sanded that down, re-glassed it, and then did a complete sand down of that to get it ready for the pond shield. And then as you can see, oh, almost forgot, and I drilled the holes for the drains and the return. And as you can see, the first coat of pond shield has been applied. Now this is the bottom coat, so this is not what the tank will actually look like. It won't be this blue. It's going to be a lighter blue. Keep in mind, this is going to be a saltwater tank, so I decided to go with the lighter blue for this. Usually I use black, but switched it up a little bit, being as this is going to be tied into the saltwater tank that's behind the sheet there. So here it is, coat 1. I mean, quite honestly, as thick as I put this on, it probably could go with just one coat, especially since it's fiberglass underneath. But there is another coat coming, so this little part here is actually ready. I'm not quite ready to add the other coat right now, so I missed the window of around 12 hours or so where you can apply the other coat over top of the first one here. So what I'm going to have to do, it's not a big deal. It just means I have to do a little bit of sanding. Just rough it up a little bit and get it ready for the next coat before I add the top coat and final coat. And then of course I will be painting the whole outside of the aquarium just to protect the wood, and also here in the front there will be a wall. They'll be finished off in the front, a lot like how the 3,000 gallon is finished off, something similar to that. So I'll have access up top here, and when you come around to the side, this will be open, but this will appear to be like a wall, a faux wall. Just make it nicer presentation for the front. And the glass. I have ordered the glass. It is on its way. Probably, it's tempered glass, so they have to make it, and then I think they say that they ship it in 6 days or something, so it's probably a couple weeks out. 10 to 14 days, I would imagine. But that gives me time to work on the plumbing, so I will be starting probably the next thing is the next coat of pond shield, and then start running the plumbing over to the sump and get the new pump in there and get it set up and ready. So okay, next stop, the top coat. All right, just a quick look at the tank after sanding down in between the first and second coat. So you can see the scuff marks from the sanding. It's done with 60 grit sandpaper. If you see that little area right there, that was a little bit of a bubble I missed, so I went ahead and cut that out, fixed that, and I'm gonna fully fix it with a little fiberglass patch, which I'll use in the pond armor. So the pond armor will cure the patch, the fiberglass patch. I won't have to use a separate epoxy resin, so that'll get done at the same time applying the final coat. As you can see, all roughed up and ready for coat number 2. Alright, so next time we see this tank, it will be a different color and have 2 coats of pond armor. Okay, this is the second coat on the 600 gallon, and what's the nice way to say this? It's not quite what I expected color-wise. I know some of you are probably thinking, do I do drugs? No, I don't. I don't know why. I thought this would look good. I was thinking, ocean blue. The other blue I used on the lower coat, it was really like bright blue, and I thought this would be more of a kind of an ocean look, but I don't think it is. It is, I don't know, let's just call it too blue for my taste. It's okay. So with the bad comes some good. So in the process of doing this, I found 2 spots I wasn't that happy with. So I went ahead and I cut out that section and re-glassed it. That's re-fiberglassed, and a little bubble up there I didn't like either, so I re-fiberglassed that as well. And so we got that stuff fixed before putting on a final coat, which is good. And I went ahead and picked up some black pond shield. So what's going to happen now is the tank is going to get a 3rd coat, which is going to make it just super duper coated. So we're going to get that a 3rd coat on there. So super thick coating. Very waterproof, and it's going to be black. So what's going to happen now is I will paint it black, and I have already ordered the glass, and I got a call from FedEx that we're scheduling a time sometime soon to go pick it up from the FedEx freight. I have all the plumbing. Let me take you out here in the hallway real quick. You can see my disaster work zone. So I have all the plumbing to take the 600 gallon and plumb it into the sump back there. So we're really coming along here. I can work on the plumbing. The glass will be here pretty soon. The pond shield's here. I'll get this fixed. We'll get a sensible color, and I can get the outside of this tank painted, and we're going to be real close to bring this bad boy online for the water test. Oh, I do have lights over in the other room that'll be moving over to here, so we're all set. It's just going to be a matter of, you know, just getting the work done. All right. All right, we got progress on the 600 gallon. We have no longer a gross blue color. We have a black on the inside and the outside. And we have glass. Already siliconed in, and as you can see, it's all braced up and curing. And then on the top, we have it all braced up with clamps. And let me take you around the side here. We'll get a top down. I know it looks like a mess with all the blankets and everything, but that's just to keep the braces from possibly gouging the epoxy. But you can see over on the side there and on the bottom, we do have the nice black two-part epoxy on the inside, and then the outside is also painted just you know, for the inevitable exposure to some water that it'll see, you know, from just maintaining the tank. And as you can see, there is a giant bead of silicone all around the base of the glass, or all around the edge of the glass. So, and then separate beads running up after the glass is installed, just to give it a bead on the side, the bottom, and the other side. So, lots of progress. Right now, the next step on the 600 is to remove these braces, get all these blankets out of here, trim up the silicone, trim it up here, and then if you come around to the front, you know, trim all this off. That's how you know you used enough, is when it bulges out like that. So we'll get all that trimmed up, we'll get the silicone, or get the tape taken off, and then it's time for test water fill. So that is the, you know, the exciting and nerve-wracking part, but I feel pretty good. This is actually built even stronger than the 3000 was built, so hopefully it does just as well and holds that water. And then once we do the water test, so 5 to 7 days of holding water, that gives me plenty of time to get that plumbing over there completed and get the pump in and everything. And okay, next step. So as you can see, all the bracing is off. All the clamps are gone, the nasty blankets, the wood supports, most of the caulk is trimmed away. You got to keep in mind that when there is a wall here, a faux wall, this is cut out of the drywall. This will be trimmed out with 1x and painted white, just like on the 3000. So the you know, the kind of rough edge there you won't see when it's all finished, but it is cleaned up as much as it needs to be able to support the trim, so that you don't see any of that. Now you can get a better view of what it looks like with all that mess in there. But yeah, it's a big black box, 6 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet tall. We come around here. So next steps are, we are going to test fill it. You know, it's kind of the love and hate part. You know, it means you're getting close to having a functional tank, but it's the one where you worry about if you have a problem or not. But we're going to cross our fingers and hope we don't have a problem. All right, test fill has started. The moment of truth for any DIY aquarium builder. This is a lot of things in life. There's not always a test of whether you did it right or not. But when you build an aquarium, you definitely get tested. So either the water's going to stay in here or it's going to end up on the floor. So I'm going to keep track of this, and as it progresses, I'll take a little more footage and you know, cross your fingers and toes. Hopefully this bad boy is going to pass the fill test and we can get it going. All right, as you can see, the tank is full of water, almost all the way to the top. If you remember, I have the drains over there, so it can't go all the way up, but it has been holding water for 5 days, so I'm going to call that the end of the water test. And so the next step would be to drain all this out of here, and as you can see, have the top brace is on. So drain all this water out of here, and I've been making new salt water. It's so crazy. Like, not that long ago, I had an email from Live Aquarium. It was like 30% off salt, and I was like, oh, I got, let's see, 3-4 buckets of salt. I don't need any salt. And then I'm starting to make salt for the 600 gallon, and I'm looking at it, see 160 a bucket, 4 buckets. Man, all my salt's gone after I make this salt. So I had to order some at full price. But I guess the the thing to do is if there's a good sale on something, pick it up whether you think you need it or not, I guess. But at any rate, as you can see, little bubbles on the inside, but it held. It's all good. It's braced. All right, as you can probably tell, the 600-gallon passed the water test. It held some regular cold fresh water for 5 days, and then I went ahead and drained it. And as you can see, it is up and running. This is full 600 gallons of salt water. It has its substrate. You can see it has the wave pump going and the return and the drains, all the plumbing. Everything's all built. All right, thanks for watching building the 600-gallon aquarium. As you can see behind me, we now have an empty saltwater aquarium with some aquascaping, but a lot of work to go and a lot of things to come for this tank. So if you want to see the progression or the evolution of this tank, you can check out the videos I made on the 1,500-gallon salt system, of which this is a big part of. And stay tuned for a video in that series where we're going to show the scaping of both this tank and the 265 and adding lighting and rescaping and adding macroalgae to the 700-gallon refugium, as well as adding fish. And for the 600-gallon behind me, this is going to be a tank where I'm going to be adding a bucket list fish for me. So pretty exciting. It's some fish, actually it's more than one fish that I've wanted to keep for a long time. Never had the right tank. Now I do. So stay tuned.